It's me. I've had my hair cut. Well, I've cut my hair. How is everyone? I'm trying something else different tonight. I've got. I couldn't read the questions on the phone screen previously, so I've gone onto a tablet. So I'm watching myself. Watch myself. Does that make sense? ADB Fishing. Good evening, buddy. Nice to have you along. What do you think of the haircut? It's looking pretty snazzy. Eastbourne Fisherman, evening, buddy. Neil, hiya. Danny, Inglorious Fishing. Oi, oi! It's nice to see you here, Dan. Captain Daniel. Going high tech. No, it's because my eyes are failing me. So I couldn't read the questions on the screen last week. So I've got them on my tablet. What have we got? Pete Mosley, evening shipwreck, shipmates. There's only a few people that actually get to say that properly, you know. Hi, Mr. W, Gavin McNamara, Andy Scott. Mother did mine yesterday. Not a bad job there, pal. ADB Fishing, had your hair cut. What happened was, I was having a shave. That's why I bought the old the beard trimmer. I started having a bit of a trim, and I just didn't stop. I didn't stop. Yeah, all good. It's good stuff. Smash Fishing. Even Buddy and Robert Davies. Hi all. Wow, there's a few people coming on here tonight, isn't there? I'm quite surprised. The tablet's on fire. Alan's joined the club as well. Evening, Alan. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, so we've got plenty of people in already. So we've got some interesting news. Andy Collins. We're out of lockdown. Let the boat fishing commence. Turbo Werbos for Captain Dano. I look forward to watching that one, buddy. I like those. I haven't actually caught a turbot myself, but a few videos ago, about 3-4 months ago, my brother caught one. Only small compared to yours. You know, I've seen your big dustbin lid size ones, but to catch a turbot from the shore around on the south coast is quite unusual. Jamie Wells, good evening. Carl Weeks. Alan's doing well. And how's the fishing van going? Right, so the fishing van, I'm chuffed to bits with. Fishing van is great. It was a choice of a medium height or a high. I ended up with a high to get the better van. Got a little bit of welding to do before I start the floor. Before I start the floor, I can build on that and everything else will happen fairly quickly after that. So my welding kit is at my brother's. That's coming back to my house. Going to do the welding, sort the floor out, and then it will get interesting. I might do a little bit of videoing on the welding and the flooring, but I think once that part of it's out of the way on the fishing wagon, I think it'll get a lot more interesting then. Barry Corbett, Mark Waters, you're late. And Neil Blackford from West Sussex, east-west. So is that like Chichester way? Is West Sussex? Is that Chichester, Bognor, around there? I like fishing around there, so I visit there quite regularly. Yeah, so what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, obviously I'm going to answer questions because it's a Q&A, but there's a few little bits and pieces that are worth mentioning, quite exciting. Andy Collins, what's in the glass this evening? Well, I could lie and say it's another fruit-based beverage designed for ladies, but it's not. I don't know if you can tell. It looks awful. It looks like Tizer. It's actually fruit cider. Fancy the change. I knew I was coming up for a bit for this evening. This is going to, you know, I'll probably knock it on the head at about an hour's time. But you get thirsty talking. And it wasn't going to be rum for tonight. So a fruit-based beverage designed for ladies, I think. Scott Harris, Neil Blackford. Cowfold near Horsham, West Sussex. Not been there, buddy. Oh, yeah. Well done, Andy. Andy Scott. Is it Scott H's birthday today? I've got mixed messages with the. I didn't know if you meant it was today, or for when we do the prize draw. Horse ain't fit for Scott Harris cider. Scott Harris is on the Southern Comfort. Lewis Goodacre from East Yorkshire, Bridlington. No, tomorrow. Right, Scott Harris. Happy birthday, buddy. Greetings, salutations. Wish you all the best. Hope all your dreams come true. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Scott. But pre-birthday drinks today. Yes. Can't be a bit of rum. You've got to get your pronunciation right when you say that. It depends what rum as well. I see you, was it Lambs or Woods or something like that? Bit hardcore, isn't it? Right, so first fishing based question. Robert Davies, do you think you will venture down to South Wales? That's north for me, buddy. Do you think you'll venture down South Wales when your van is up and running? When the restrictions lift and we're up and about, we're going everywhere. We will be knocking on the doors of loads of subscribers. Can you take me fishing? Yeah, we will be going to South Wales for absolute definite. Glorious Fish, I reckon double figure turbos. That would be impressive, mate. If you can put one of those on camera tomorrow, I'll be very impressed. Mount Gay, again, get your pronunciation right on that one, fellas. Pusser's Rum. I've been to Tortola. This isn't a brag. If any of you know a little bit of my backstory, I've travelled the world on ships, at sea, off into the distance, and I've been to Tortola, which is where they make Pusser's Rum. And in the bar there, they'll only serve you 3 painkillers. And if you can walk after 3, you're doing well. Don't neglect North Wales too. Buddy, seriously, I'm gonna start chapping on everyone's door. Take me fishing. Woods for the men, lambs for smashing the boys. Okay. Keep spiders in the pots there. Inglorious Fishing, 13 keeper spiders in the pots. What are you going to do with them all? 13 spider crabs. Pete Mosley, he's been to Tortola on the Southampton, on the mighty Southampton. And he asks, am I ex-Navy? Yes, I am, mate. I'm an ex-Chief Stoker. And many an island I've visited. Pusser's Rum, Ultimate Joy Juice. We discussed this last week. If you're going to drink rum and you'd like to try something a little bit different, and you're either going to love me or hate me for this, get yourself a bottle of Tiki Fire. It's expensive. It's 150% proof. It's usually about £38–40 a bottle. But if you're going to treat yourself one day, or if someone's going to treat you, bottle of Tiki Fire, give it a go. When can we start fishing again? What's the fish? Right, when we do, right, so from Gary Birch, when we start fishing again, where am I going to go first? It's a good question, because I've thought about this long and hard. Just bear with me a sec, because I can see that light from the windows too much. So where am I going to go for my first trip? First trip, I need to give the van a bit of a run out, just to chuck all the gear in the back and just to give it a go. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop, really. I just, how can a van be exciting to drive? Well, it is when you've been driving a car for 10 years. So where am I going to go? South Coast, close. It is a toss-up, depending on when the restrictions lift, whether we chase hounds or rays. If we're chasing rays, it's going to be down towards Bournemouth. If we're chasing hounds, it's going to be across the water to the New Forest side. And pretty much that will be the choice for me. It'll be hounds or rays. Who else? Have them to... When we start fishing, you're everywhere I go, bro. So someone's following you. Have you got a stalker, Scott, have you? Okay, yeah, that's a good question actually. So Jersey, Guernsey, have your full restrictions been lifted now? Are you allowed to go out and I don't know, have you got any restrictions still in place? Do you have to wear face masks, or I don't know, are you allowed to travel? Are you allowed to go fishing? I don't know. That'd be interesting to know, because I think we're possibly on the cusp of having some restrictions lifted. I don't believe for 1 minute that we'll have all restrictions lifted. Buckfast in Scotland. Right. I lived in Scotland. I lived in Glasgow. I lived in Glasgow in Scottstown for two and a half years. That was an education. Good night out in Glasgow. Stephen Cooper, Hillhead, great venue for the hounds. Yes, it is. I haven't fished Hillhead for hounds yet, but it was on the list and one of the plans to do this year. And I am going to close that blind fully, because that's still too much. Right, here we go. Yeah, so Hillhead is a good venue for hounds, and it's on my list. I've got quite a cheeky little list together of all the places specific for different species and areas and different types of fishing that I wanted to do. And obviously, with everything that's happened recently, pretty much all of that's gone clean out the window. So the biggest one, the one that sort of cut me deep, Shrek, really cut me deep, was missing the Scotland trip. So we'd prepped for about a week after the lockdown. We were planned to go to Oban, and we were going to fish, 3 of us, we were going to fish from shore, and I'd had an invite to go out on a boat, and we were going to fish for the common skate, and we were aiming for £100 plus fish. And to get one of those 100, £120 fish on camera, for me, would have been amazing. And a lifetime opportunity, really. So that's something we've missed, but something that's not parked. We are going to carry on and follow that up. Oban Fisher, hope you can make it. Sunny Scotland awaits. And made the live chat. Cheers, buddy, appreciate it. Yeah, we've been talking on a regular basis, and that trip's still on the cards. So that would be one to look forward to. Definitely from my perspective, and I'm sure it'll be an interesting one for the channel. Inglorious Fishing, you've always been allowed to go shore fish, so you had no restrictions on going fishing. It's one of the things, I'm not going to question it because it's for the greater good, but it's one of the ones I struggled with. You could go into a supermarket in a crowded place, but you couldn't go to a deserted beach where no one was. I understand the mentality. I understand why. It's hard when it's your hobby. When review things, they'll accept proposition from the National Angling Trust, and we can go fishing social distance still. Yeah, social distancing while fishing. I don't think it's the fact of you being socially distanced on the beach that is the issue. I believe, and I'm just going to, because there's a bit of lighting going on there, I believe it's the travel to and from is the issue. And the more people that are on the roads, the more stress or opportunity for accidents there were. And I think that was the greater concern. Not so much the fishing itself, but the travelling to and from. Okay, so James Hubbard, good question. If we was to come out of lockdown within a month, when would the meet and greet be and where? So I was almost 90% sure, and I was going to drive the hour down to go and check it out and just to get it clear in my mind, that the meet and greet at Chesil was going to be at West Bexington. And the reason why I was going to choose West Bexington was it was an area of the beach that was angler friendly for someone that hadn't been there before. There are parts of the beach that are pretty severe, pretty dire, and you have to watch yourself, and you know, preferably fish in pairs and keep an eye on each other. Abbotsbury, and I'm trying to get my compass point right. Abbotsbury and east of Abbotsbury, the beach is really steep and it's not that kind to people that have never been before. West Bexington is a little bit shallower, a little bit easier to fish, and the car park is right on the beach. And there's a sounds snaggy now. There's a bar there as well. So if people were there and they wanted to have a meal and a drink, that was literally within a stone's throw distance as well. I fully intend taking a van. We were going to hire one, but I've actually purchased one, and we were going to take a full-size gas barbecue, 40 litres of water, cases of beer, meat, barbecue stuff, all of that kind of stuff. Fish ourselves, and then have a social in the evening and just say hello to everyone. Possibly walk around during the day and meet people along the beach as well. I don't know how that would fit in with the social distancing. So I am not going to make any promises, but it was always going to be for the longest day, which is June the 20th, I think. That was the thinking, and that is still the wish and the hope. Whether that falls into what can happen now with everything that's gone on, I'm unsure. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Yeah, so just to clarify that, so James Hubbard, if the meet and greet was to go on and restrictions were lifted, my personal feeling would be West Bexington on the longest day, just because you'd give yourself the benefit, the biggest chance of some nice weather. You think you'd come to the Channel Islands fishing, smash fishing? Do you think you come to the Channel Islands fishing? Right. So seriously, because we've already discussed this, we've already messaged and talked about it, that I had full plans of chucking a couple of rods in a rod bag, a lure rod and a couple of beach casters, 12-footers, not the big long ones, and jumping on the plane. Southampton Airport is 1.5 miles away from me, and I looked at flight costs as well. It was cheaper to fly to the Channel Islands than it was to get a train to Birmingham. So I would love to come out to the Channel Islands, book myself in a B&B and get fishing for a couple of days. It was something that we were looking at. Love to take you out for the bass. Seriously, and I'd love you to take me out and go bass fishing on the Channel Islands. That would be amazing. Amazing footage, that one. Sweet Corn Kid, good evening, buddy. Stu. Do you like the haircut? It's high and tight, I think is the description. So Scott, sorry, Kent McDonald. Hi, buddy. Good evening, Kent. Scott Harris. So, any new ideas come up for the van? The van. I didn't want a camper van. If I wanted a camper van, I'd have bought a camper van, or I've built Volkswagen camper vans previously. I've got a very good friend of mine that does van conversions, and he does an amazing job. Pop top, pull out bed, fixed cooker, fridge, all that kind of stuff. That is brilliant. If that's what you want, it's not what I want. I want a van that's a bit like Go Gadget. I want to be able to put my fridge in there, strap my gas bottle in there, put my barbecue in, go fishing for the weekend, come back, take all that out, put 2 motorbikes in the back, and go to Salisbury Plain on an evening in the summer. Take that out and go and get some building materials. So I want it to be a Go Gadget van. It is the fishing wagon. It is its primary use, but it's not its only use. So everything I do to the van needs to be reversible. So I've got a really nice fridge unit that can freeze down to -20. So when I go and do the bait run down at Chesil, I can catch 40 mackerel, freeze them in the car park on the beach, and they'll be hard frozen before I even get home. Transfer them to the bait fridge in the workshop. That would be one of its uses. So it's got to cover a lot of aspects. It's got to do a lot of different things, but it will always be geared up primarily to the fishing. Yeah, so any new ideas? It's going to have heating, standalone heating. It's going to have solar. It's going to have 2 separate auxiliary battery banks. It's going to have the facility to sleep in it, carry all my kit, and at least 2 other people and all their kit. And that should extend my range so that I can drive to Scotland, go fishing in Scotland, drive back. That's the plan. That's the plan in a ballpark figure for the fishing wagon. Yeah, better access at West Bexington. It is just better access. It's more. I want to try and encourage people that have never fished Chesil before, that watch the videos, watch channels because they like seeing. You know, it is one of the most popular sea fishing venues in the UK. To give people who haven't fished it a chance to fish it. all the rest of us that have fished these venues before, it takes a shine off it a little bit. You know, you've done it, you've seen it, and you hope to catch something bigger, better, or different next time you go. But for some people, it's really magical. They've never been, and that I can still remember that magical moment when we first went down there, and I'd just like to replicate that for other people. I'm going to need a bigger car park than West Bexington. We'll park up the street. We'll park all the way back to Dorset if need be. You can all pile in the back of the van and I'll ferry you backwards and forwards to your cars. Inglorious Fishing, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's always nice to know that you're welcome somewhere and that there's an open invite. Just be careful that I don't just come chapping on your door one day. You'll answer it in your boxer shorts. Who's that at the door? It's me. I've got my fishing rods. Less drag with your haircut. Me, I prefer some thatch. Andy Collins. I started shaving my beard and I forgot to stop. That's the excuse anyway. Lockdown, can't get my hair cut. And I was starting, Mrs W said I looked like Bill Oddie. And at that point I looked in the mirror and I think I saw a glimpse of him as well. So off it came. A proper multi-purpose battle bus. That's exactly it, Andy. That's what I'm aiming for. Hardcore fisherman. Good evening, mate. Been out in the garden, enjoying the weather, the spring weather. It's lovely out there. It's been absolutely hooning it down with rain here for the last couple of days, though. Stephen Cooper. Never fished Chesil, and it was on your list for this year. That's exactly what we're trying to encourage. A lot of people, it's the beach of broken dreams, isn't it? People have massive expectations. They say you never meet your idols or your superheroes. Loads of people see all these massive fish that get caught, and you see in the Angling Times and all this other stuff, these amazing captures that have happened at Chesil Beach, and you do 2 nights on the trot and you're blank. Because it's like everywhere else. You can only catch what's in front of you if you're using the right setup and the right bait. By having a group down there and encouraging people to go for the first time, I'd like to think that throughout all of us, even if it's difficult and we're struggling, as soon as people start catching on either a bait, a rig or something, we communicate it to each other. It's an open community. We all try and help each other out. And then we encourage the others and lend rigs. You know, if a guy's been there for 6 hours and he hasn't had a bite and he reels it in and you look at his rig and you think, I'm not quite sure you're going to catch something on that, buddy. Why don't you try this? I'll give all the rigs in my wallet away if need be. Give a rig, help them bait it up, smash it out. And if they catch something on the magical beach, I don't understand if there's anything that could be any better than that. That would be absolutely amazing. Barry Corbett. So in Scotland, the fisheries have issued numbers for people to be able to report people. I'm not going to get into political statements because, you know, it's like religion and politics and all those other kind of things. All I can say is, if you shouldn't be doing it and you get caught doing it, can you be upset if you get caught? It's like speeding, you know. Hold my hand up, officer, I wasn't speeding. You know, you go on the motorway, pretty much everyone in the middle and outside lane are speeding. That's a fact. And if you got caught doing it, you're banged to rights, aren't you? So, very political. I'm not going to get drawn into too much like that. Gary Birch, talk about freezing mackerel. What's the best way to freeze peeler crabs as we can't fish? I freeze them in 2s. That's my personal preference. Some people sort of they have a tank set up in their workshop and they wait, and you know, if you peel one of the back legs and they're just starting to peel but the shell's not starting to separate, they put them in water tanks and hold them over for a few days just to the point of peeling, you know, where the back starts to split and lift off. And if you close the legs on a crab, you know, at that stage, because they act differently once they go into full sort of peel, you can close the legs up and you can individually wrap them in cling film and you've got individual crabs. I tend to just wrap them in pairs Sometimes, you know, belly to belly with the like my hands. If you imagine that's the crab with his legs, just put them belly to belly and wrap them like that in cling film and put them in the freezer. I'm fascinated by peeler crab because the female, when she's gonna start to go into peel and a top shell, this is her top shell and this is her legs. You know, when her top shell's starting to come off, when she's in peel, that's the only time that the male crab can mate with her. So she gives off pheromones or whatever it, magical smelly stuff, and fish can sense that and they home in on them. They home in on them and they go nuts for them because they know that that pheromone is linked to a peeling crab. The males don't do it. It's the females that get hit hard. So you really want female peeler crabs, but then you don't want to deplete future stocks. How many do you take? I don't know. There's another question about numbers, captures, returns, all that kind of stuff. But the female gives off this pheromone. Now, if these people that make all these little bottles of stuff could replicate that pheromone, you'd be onto a winner. Just smelling like squid, smelling like mackerel. But if you could replicate the pheromone that the female peeler crab is giving off, I think that would probably be your 110% bait. I'm whittering on a bit, aren't I? Really. Nuts on fishing. Loves and hates Chesil Beach. Absolutely. It's the beach of broken dreams. You can go there and come away absolutely buzzing. Buzzing your conkers off. It's an amazing place. The whole scenario, the vista, the fishing, dawn, when the sun comes up in the morning, that witching hour of dawn, when bait fish are being driven up onto the beach and they're literally jumping out of the water to come up the beach because the mackerel are chasing them. Behind the mackerel are the garfish, and behind the garfish there's bass, and beyond the bass there's all sorts of sea creatures, krakens and monsters. It's an amazing place, absolutely amazing. So hardcore fisherman, it's been raining there all day, and he just can't wait to get back. I've really missed it. I've really missed not going fishing. I've stopped short of rigging my rod in the garden and just dipping the line in a puddle or a bucket of water just to get my fix. But right, so Stu, Sweet Corn Kids talking about catching squid at Fort Blockhouse. That's our secret little venue. The problem with Fort Blockhouse, if you don't know what it is, it's the entrance to Portsmouth Harbour. It's ex-military field hospital and submarine base. Because of the status of it, it's still high security and you can't get in. Stu, myself and others have got permission to be in there and fish. There are some monsters in there. Absolute monsters. Congers, bass, you name it. There's some proper creatures of the deep. But you're not allowed to film. Because it's a military site, you're not allowed to film inside there. So myself and Stu have been going on a fairly regular basis. We've been a few times now. And it's always interesting, and it throws up weird and wonderful stuff. Yeah, Port Call and St. Albert might HMS Scylla was Tortola. Done Chesil a few times, never caught, so a meet would benefit me. Hand up to speeding. Dennis Lane, been to Chesil a few times. I think that's pretty much what we were talking about, wasn't it? So you can go to Chesil, you can fish amongst all these other people around you are catching, and you're blanking, and there is absolutely no reason. You can go and chat to the guy, have a sneaky check of his rig. You're fishing the same kind of rig. It is genuinely the beach of broken dreams. Get squid off the end of the new and old outfalls at Eastney. Low water. So smash fishing. What's your number one go-to bait when bait fishing? When bait fishing. Right, so I've geared myself up this year. I've cleared I need to buy a chest freezer. I've got an upright freezer with drawers in it, and by drawers whether I've got squid, mackerel and all the rest of it. I've cleared a drawer out this year because I've bought 2 throw-in nets, like the wheel, was it the wheel nets you were using for crabbing on Guernsey, where you're throwing the nets out, leaving for a while and then pulling them back in. I'm going to use smaller versions of that can throw like a frisbee and then pull back to catch the bait fish. And they're little silver, I'm not sure that they're white bait, but they're bait fish. When the bait fish are showing at Chesil, every big fish you catch, if you gut them, they've got those inside. And you'd be surprised how many. So I had a keeper bass that I decided to keep. He had 9 of those fish inside it. 9. And that everything there, even the mackerel. If you want to catch a big mackerel, you use one of these silver fish. I'm going to put 10, 15, 20 pound of it in my freezer this year, when the restrictions lift and we're allowed to go and catch them. Blue Skies and Salcombe. Mark Walters, do you think rigs make a difference to results? I'm going to say something now, and it might be what you're alluding to as well. If you've got 2 rigs out there and one's better than the other, does a fish look at it and go, I ain't touching that, I'm going to go for the crap one next door? No. You only catch what you put the right bait at the right place at the right time. Full stop. You can go to a holiday beach and the 9-year-old kid with a crab line that's just dangled it 2 foot off the shore or over the cliff wall, and he's just pulled out a double figure bass. And you could have fished there a lifetime and never seen one. So, do the rigs make a difference? I think fishing is about confidence. Confidence and the prevention of loss of what you do catch. So you can have 2 rigs, one be poorly made, one be really well made, fairly accurately the same, and the luck of the draw is which fish, the fish takes which one. The difference being is, do you get the fish all the way back to the bank? Do you actually get the fish at the end of it? Or does that poorly made one part at some point and you lose it? And I don't think there's anything more gutting than that, when you know you're into something decent and you've lost it. So all the time you can put into making a good rig that you've got confidence in, there's nothing worse than casting a line out, spending the next half hour thinking, my knots were crap on that one, or I should have used £40 line, not £20 line, because you just play mind games for yourself and you don't actually enjoy it. If you put all the prep work in, you sit back, relax and take it all in, and monitoring your rod tips is just something else, isn't it? It's almost like a Zen additional. Yeah, I'm talking rubbish again, aren't I? Phil Carpenter, evening Mark, sat in the shed tying carp rigs and listening in. Carp rigs, I've got a lot to learn from you pond dippers. You know, I used to do it years ago when I was a kid, did a bit of fluff chucking as well, got my Orvis handmade rod in the workshop. Carp fishing guys, your detail, attention to detail, accuracy with your rigs, and the differences you make in all your little bits and pieces, fine tweaking. Us sea fishermen can learn a lot from carp fishermen, even if we do it in adult size, hardcore, on the beach. Gentle dig there. Weymouth Stone Pier. Weymouth Stone Pier is the place for squid when they're in. Nuts on fishing. Before Christmas, I drove down to Weymouth Stone Pier. Myself and my brother got out of the car. We walked along Stone Pier. It was blowing a hoolie. We had all the stuff in the back of the car, and we were going to film a little bit of squid fishing. And it was just, the weather was awful. But we could see all the ink marks where people had been catching squid. And to me, the places where the biggest and most ink marks was clearly the hot spot. And from what I could tell, was it seagrass? Is it seagrass? There was like a big seagrass bed there. And I guess they're casting across the top of that and bringing the lures over the top of the seagrass. And then the squid are ambushing the lures as they come out. But I'd still like to try that again. We just got weathered out the last time we tried it. Alan lived in Weymouth for 12 years, fished Chesil for 12 years, and biggest fish was £5 and a PB mackerel of £2.25. I had my PB ting. I had a PB ting of 2.1 or 2.2 pounds. I was chuffed to bits with that. That was a good big one for a ting, that. Stephen Tucker admits to getting caught speeding on the way to Chesil. Speed awareness test in Weymouth. I've got a clean licence, but the only reason why I've got a clean licence is because last year I had to do a speed awareness test. I was on my motorbike coming back from Wales and got caught doing 72 in a 70 average, and they gave me a ticket. Even when I went to the speed awareness course, they went, you shouldn't get a ticket for that, but I did, and they made me do a speed awareness course. Scott Harris, hit the like button, guys. Right, if you guys don't mind, I'm answering the questions and we'll go through them. I'm going to give a quick brief insight into the competition, and more importantly, why I'm doing it, because it may just seem a little bit random, but it's not, and there's a genuine reason for it. So the channel has been monetized, I don't know how long now, 3-4 months, something like that. It got monetized quite quickly, and that's all down to the support that I've been given on the channel. I'm not in it to make money, but you take the money that's available. So I've got AdSense, the Amazon affiliates, Google is the AdSense stuff, and from people watching the adverts on the videos, I get paid pennies. It is literally nothing, but there was enough in my first payment to pay for the giveaway. So the giveaway is your money back. So if you watch the adverts, gentle pun or gentle plug, subscribe, like, and all those things that YouTube like, eventually I get paid a little bit, and then I buy stuff, give it away. Or buy stuff for myself, review it and give it away, or it pays for a trip and we do a special, or whatever it is, but it's not going into my pocket, it's coming back. So the choice, I put a poll on the community tab. If you haven't looked at the community tab, there's a way of us communicating backwards and forwards from there. And I put a poll. It was either going to be a Penn Surf Blaster reel or a Shakespeare seat tackle box. Overwhelmingly Shakespeare seat tackle box. So at 9 o'clock tonight, the review film of a Shakespeare seat tackle box will go live. If you like and subscribe, if you haven't subscribed already, go in the comments section and type the word win. I've got a very clever little program that will randomly select anyone that's liked, subscribed and type win, and I'll do the draw live at the end of the month, at the end of May. Someone will get a brand new, not mine, it won't get a second-hand one, they'll get a brand new Shakespeare seat tackle box, fully loaded with the 2 trays, the tackle box, the seat cushion and the padded strap and the standard box, in a choice of their colour, and I will order it from one of the main online retailers. So it will come direct from Veals or Angling Direct or Poindexter's or someone like that, and that's just my way of giving back. So someone's going to get a brand new seat tackle box. Kind regards of the channel. Let's have a look at some of the questions then. Rianne Hancock, if you had to give one piece of advice, what would it be? Listen to your parents. Listen to your parents, because even though you don't like it, they always know best. No, fishing then, I suppose. If I had to give one piece of advice, practice. Practice and enjoy practicing. It's got to be the way ahead, isn't it? You can go and have an absolutely terrible fishing session. Nothing goes right. You break something. A crow comes and nicks your bait. That happened recently. A fox comes in and nicks your bait. Someone's Labrador tries to take a hooked trace off your tripod. Someone walks into your line because they're walking along the beach and they haven't even spotted the fact that you're fishing, and then you lose an absolute monster in the surf, like I did at Hordle when I'm pretty sure I lost a double figure rate. But even on those, you learn something for the next time. And if you learn a little bit, it's still a positive, isn't it? Mark Walters, starting to use smaller hooks on most rigs, but agrees that it's a confidence thing. Whatever works for you, good, bad or indifferent, whatever works for you in the situation where you fish, how you fish, even to the distance that you cast. Everyone is slightly different. I fish next to Stu and he never catches anything. So I'm catching and he's fishing. But everyone's different. You're putting it at a different distance, different rig, different stuff. I don't know. There's so many variables, it's hard to tell. Coarse fishermen, Andy Collins, coarse fishermen make good sea anglers when they're not whinnying about the weather. What else we got? Because I only passed in February. ADB fishing only pass. Is that you only passed your test in February? You got a clean license. We're doing well so far. 36 and a 30. 10%, buddy. 10% rule. And that didn't stick with me. They still did me. Squid lay... Right. So that'll make sense, Andy Scott. Squid lay their eggs in the seagrass beds. So they must be in the seagrass beds and they see the lure coming up over the top and they come up and snatch it. Can you lure fish for bass at the location you're thinking of doing the meet and greet, or is it right? So, just going back to those silver fish that we were talking about earlier on. At dawn, if there are bait fish and you get black lines pushed up hard against the shoreline at Chesil, West Bexington, Abbotsbury, all along that stretch, excuse me, if the bait fish are there, the bass are definitely behind it. And if you use a white or silver sidewinder lure, or one of the silver shad type ones with the rattle inside it, and cast about 10 feet past the black line, all the other predatory fish are literally waiting, and they're just waiting to pick off individuals. So if you put yours past the black line, the cloud, within 6 to 10 feet, you'll get hit every time, to the point where it is almost too repetitive. You have to fight your way past the big mackerel, and we are talking 1.5, 1 3/4 pound mackerel, so they're quite fun on light line anyway. But if you can fight your way through those, there are bass there. Stephen Cooper, I missed how do we enter. When the video comes up at 9 o'clock, it'll go live at 9 o'clock. The description gives it really clearly exactly what you do. You like, subscribe and type win in the comments section. I've got a special program and I'll do it live on camera so everyone can see that it's not rigged and it's totally random. I put the channel URL into the program. It knows that that is the video that you're looking at and the competition's running on. I tell it, click some boxes to say what aspects I want, and then it says what keyword do you need, and I'll type in WIN, hit go. It'll tell me how many people have qualified that are in the draw, if you like. Let's say 100. I'll press another button again, and then it will randomly, and you see it on the screen, all sort of shuffling the names of the people around, and then it will ping one out, and it'll be the one person that is picked out at random. It's an amazing little program, and it makes running a competition like that really easy. Hardcore Fisherman, nice to see you on, mate. Been brilliant to watch, but I've got to go. I'm going live on my own channel for a bit. Hardcore Fisherman, thank you very much for joining. I really do appreciate your time. And if I wasn't doing this, I'd go and check you out. So we need to do that non-clashing thing, don't we? Small hooks are fine as long as they're strong enough. Andy Collins, small hooks, but got to be strong. Captain Dano's got chip butties. Dano, do you eat anything other than chip butties? All I ever see you eat is chips. Chip butties. You've done it now, haven't you? I fancy a chip butty. I didn't have full dinner tonight. I had porky boy, not quite full dinner, because I knew I was going to have a bit of a drink tonight. But now you've got me thinking. Up the chip shop. Has no one noticed my little crustacean friend yet? Mark Walters, Dexter wedges at Chisel. I'm confused, Buzzy. I don't know what that is. There's probably people on there now saying, "Oh, don't you know what that is? That's such a..." I don't understand what a Dexter wedge is. If you can explain, I'd appreciate it. Alan Evans, lure fishing at Bexington is usually pretty good. The silverfish are whitebait. Cheers for confirming that, Alan. I can always rely on you. Yeah, I know. Right, I know there's a whole aspect to using something pretend to look like a fish, to impart an action on it, and all the rest of it. I get that. But if you just take a size 3 hook, size 3 or 4 hook, put it through the nose of one of these live silver fish, and flick him out, he's not going to swim quite right because he's got a dirty, great big hook for his nose, and the predatory fish are going to spot that a mile off, and they hit him hard. You can do that as many times over as you want. You can have a little bucket with the white bait in it, live, swimming around, and when you run out, you can go along the beach and just pick them up, and they're still flapping. You're like, put a hook through his nose and flick him out. It's good fun. But as quick as it starts, it's like a switch, and it stops, and it all goes away. So it's that witching hour, dawn to just as the sun's creeping up over the horizon, just as it's getting light, and like an hour from there, so the sun's not fully visible, and then it all stops. Smash fishing, Heinz beans. Love a bit of beans on toast. You're proper torturing me now, aren't you? Chip Bays, beans on toast. I don't know. Everyone's talking about their dinner. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Stew, sweet corn kid, chunk of metal with some form of glittery reflective stuff and a treble at the bottom. Fish aren't always that. One of the ones that I'm desperate to try at Blockhouse, entrance to Portsmouth Harbour, where it's really tidal and there's big eddies and swirls and all the rest of it, is you catch some fresh mackerel, you take a fillet off the side, and you use a fillet as like a lure. So you just put a size 4.0 hook through it, leave it literally flapping, and fish with that as you would a lure, and impart some movement on it. And the bass in the summer are going to go nuts for that. Oh, right, sorry, Dexter wedge. Yeah, it's a spinner. I understand what you mean now, mate. Dexter wedges are the best lure found for bass fishing by a long way. Yeah, I'm with you now. That was slow on my part. Similar size to the bait fish, but you cannot beat. You can use a lure, but if the bait fish are coming up the beach and something's chasing them, put one on a plain hook and flick him out. You cannot beat. You can try and impart any kind of movement you like, but there's no movement you'll get the same as a little fish trying to swim with a 4.0 hook for his nose. Okay, so Terry Nicholson, you're hitting on a subject that I'm quite interested in. Go casting if you want to meet your idols and not be disappointed. You've met Big Danny, multiple world champions, and a really top bloke. One of the other things I was going to try and get done this year was to have proper casting lessons. And I've spoken to some people, and we were sort of in midst discussion about organising dates and stuff. And then obviously the restrictions put a stop to it. But I'd like to have some proper casting lessons. I can cast, mediocre. I'd love to be able to do all that fancy stuff where they start swinging it around and firing it off. Right, do you think, right, so this is from Smash Fishing, do you think you do a few catch and cooks with your catches, a few tings would make a nice sandwich? You don't see me keep many fish. I do, but I don't make a point of keeping loads. Decent sized tings are nice. They're highly underrated fish, and I've got a really nice way that I like to cook those. I'll take the fillets and be very careful and really bone them out really nicely so you get good full fillets. Then skin them. And I was on a fishery protection vessel for about 2 years, and we used to get a truckload of fish, and we used to be out there monkfish and langoustines and all that kind of stuff. And one of the guys on there taught me how to skin fish, and I've never forgot it. You move the skin, not the fish. You don't move the blade or the fish. You move the skin, and then hold the blade still. That's how I learned. Tings. Take the fillets, lay them on a big, like normal dinner plate. Sprinkle chili flakes on them. Turn them over. Sprinkle chili flakes on them. Put cling film on them. Put them in the fridge overnight, so that they get properly chilled, and they soak all the chili out of the chili flakes into them. The next day, dust them in some flour and shallow fry in 50 butter and vegetable oil. Oh, they are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. I love tings. They're a bit of a pain sometimes along the south coast for catching, but to eat they are amazing. Will I do any catch and cooks? When I'm out in the fishing wagon, when we're out proper on our trips, we're going to do some barbecue stuff. So I would like to film, because you guys have got that aspect covered, including my little friend. You've got that aspect covered. There's plenty of people that are doing catch and cooks and all that kind of stuff, but I'd like to do the van barbecue bit, just to mix it up and change it around a little bit. Let's have a quick look, just trying to catch up. This is much better for me. I'm reading off the tablet. If it's slightly annoying that I'm looking down, then I apologise, but I can't read off the screen on the phone. Phil Carpenter, Mark, bait capsule leads. Have you tried them? No, I haven't. But I've seen, going to name drop now, because there's other people doing other stuff, and you've got to appreciate what they're doing. I saw TA Fishing sort of bury a chum block thing, and that got me thinking, because at low tide, if you're fishing a venue and you want to put something out there, you know, like oatmeal with mackerel juice, or oils and things in it, do you want to create some kind of slick to bring things in, because they must be attracted to it? But then part of me sort of thinks, the fish, do they actually home in on the scent trail that you've left? So we're always using things like bluey and squid and talking about, oh, this is going to give an amazing scent trail and all the rest of it. I'm not 100% sure that that's what they do. When they get close to it, I think they'll zero in on it. But that stuff is getting washed around and washed around and washed around. And within minutes, it must be not washed out, but it's significantly different. I don't know is the honest answer. I do think about that. Do you put, do you bait a position? Because you do it with fresh water. You bait a position, bring the fish in. There could be all the fish at the other end of the lake. You bait your swim, and everyone comes in for the party. I don't know. Sea fishing, it's a big old space out there, isn't there? And even if you put a focused amount of bait in one place, would that really have an effect? Or is it a case of being clever with your location to use the, I'm going to use posh words now, topography, the lie of the land, to funnel and hold fish in an area? That's what I tend to look for. Areas that hold fish, rather than being somewhere that's like a savannah and there's nothing there, and you're putting some bait and hoping to pull everything in. Go where the fish are, not where the fish ain't. I suppose is my view of it. Andy Scott, entrance to Hasler Creek, 3-line sand eel under a bubble float. Yeah, there's some monster bass, and handball. Handball for me is a mile and a half away, maybe. What are we talking about? So Bursledon area, go down into Bursledon, Old Bursledon, and then you've got the Handball Inlet there. Sometimes you can put bait out there and you can't, it's touching the water and you're getting hit by school bass. There is some footage somewhere, I haven't found it recently, it popped up on my timeline a while ago, of a school of bass. They weren't mullet, you could tell they were definitely bass, and the water was just black with them, just literally black, and they were going underneath the pontoons and they were swimming against the current, and they weren't all small either, there were some clunkers in amongst those. Big Danny Moskop's casting tips. I'll come over and teach you how to cast if you take me fishing at Chesil. It's a deal. Get in touch with us. Message me on my Facebook. The reason why I say go to Facebook and messenger me, it's secure and it's private information. If we're talking about addresses or PayPal or any of those other things that might be private, I prefer if people message me through Messenger on my Facebook, just because it's safe for you and safe for me. But yeah, if you're willing to give us some casting tips, I'll quite happily take you fishing. I'll even supply you bait. Alan Evans reckon John Holden's the man for casting. I don't know. I'll look it up. I don't know who that is. Smash fishing. Yeah, seriously, buddy. You guys, we lobster and crab and spider crab. You've got access to stuff that we just don't get along the south coast here. It's there. Don't get me wrong, but not like the rocky outcrops and all that kind of stuff that you've got. You've got an amazing place where you guys live. Let's have a look. The Sweet Corn Kid, Mark Williams, aka the Ting Whisperer. There was a point before Christmas where I felt like I was just literally getting all my bait stolen by the tings. I was putting in 3 and 4 inch long baits and catching 3-inch tings. It was ridiculous. Ting fish cakes are lovely. Steve Newell. I was going to try that actually, and then obviously the restrictions kicked in and fishing sort of dried up and all the other bits and pieces. Right, smash fishing. When everything calms and you can make it over, would you be interested in trying some abalone? I'm not kidding, mate. They look rank. They look like big sea slugs. And I'm sure they taste lovely, right? But they don't look like the kind of thing I might like. But if I did come over and you insisted on me eating it, then I would have to insist that we drank some tiki fire to sort of sort it all out. Dogfish is amazing eating. Yes, it is. No bones. Yeah, Barry sort of saying that Smash has got a good catch and cook for dogfish. The only hard bit about prepping dogfish or even eating dogfish, a lot of people are put off by the skinning process. If you use a decent pair of pliers, mole grips, or like a really good set of grips, there's no issue with it, is there? You just cut it nicely and peel it back. Yeah, and the beauty of dogfish is there are no bones. Steve S, big thumbs up. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Beach Body Show. Will you ever grow your hair back? I've done the same thing and I'll never go back. Right, Mark Waters. Like I say, it feels like a lifetime ago, but I had a whole separate career before what I do now. 22 years in the military. I always used to shave my head. I used to dive, I used to shoot, work in engine rooms and machinery spaces on ships in the Gulf and the Far East. You don't want hair. You really don't want hair. So I used to shave my head all the time. But my daughter's 13. She never saw me looking like this until the other day. It was a bit of a shock. Let's have a look. Ting Whisperer is a great nickname. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to shake that one off. I'm going to have Ting Whisperer stickers. Okay. Oh, now here's a thought. Tell me what you think, guys. Because the van is a big van and it's got a honking great big windscreen, I was thinking about having the colours of the channel as the sunscreen. I could just have the Ting Whisperer across the front, can I? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Know where your sun visors are? You get that strip across the top of your windscreen. I could just have the Ting Whisperer. I've talked myself into it. Veals, mail order, definitely. So just to add one quick thing, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, yeah. Don't disappear to watch the video now. You can watch it later. There's no big rush. But the seat tackle box, I believe, will come in a choice of colours. So the winner will get the choice of colours as well. Vils is delivering. Yep, everyone agrees. Vils is delivering. For bass and can confirm it's insane at times. Have you ever tried fishing for smoothies there? Never tried it myself, but heard of double figure fish cut. Right, so there is quite a good video on YouTube, and whether you've seen it or not, most people know what I'm talking about. And that was, I think, Tope from the shore at Bunleisure, Bognor. Everyone knows what it is, everyone knows where it is. Fresh mackerel at a specific window in time, and you can catch 30-40 pound tope. Now, I sort of knew that was on the cards anyway, and this isn't like bragging rights or anything like that. It's just that the story sort of matches into what happened when that video was released. A guy that worked for me, he's moved abroad now. He came into work one day, and he had a Dutch barge moored in Chichester Harbour. And he was walking across his gangplank in the morning. He'd been off to go and get his milk and bread and whatever it was. And he was coming back to his barge, and as he walked across his gangplank, in 3 feet of water, which is all it was, the boat was literally just in the harbour in 3 feet of water, it was a 5-foot tope just sat underneath his, to the side of his boat, underneath where the gangway was. And it stopped him in his tracks, because the first thing he saw was it was a big shark. Didn't know what kind of shark and all the rest of it. Took a picture of it, brought it into work, showed us all, sort of looked in the books and just confirmed, you know, that that's what it was. Yeah. And we think that those 2 weeks, June, July, depending on when it falls, is when they come into breed. Come into breed or lay their pups, have their pups, breed, and then go back out again. But there's a distinct 2-week window. Clonkers. What else have we got? Mark Waters. My daughter almost cried. Because you cut your hair, buddy. Mine just stopped in the track. She was like, ah. The shock on her face, and she's like, oh yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. I think it's because I went from Bill Oddie, beard and loads of hair, which even like sort of covered where it's all thinning out, to looking like an egg. What have we got? What have we got? The sweet corn kid, Stu, right. My sun visor could have Mark on the driver's side and Stu on the other side, passenger side. I've told you, whatever happens, no tongues, right? And if you back up, it's wrong. So let's just leave it there. I'm in, just entered. Yep, absolutely, Scott, well done. Sandy Point for Tope. Yeah, good. I'll put that in my little, I run a little electronic note in my phone. Got some big smooth hound in Weymouth Harbour. To be honest, it's surprising. What has surprised me, because I've taken a break away from fishing and come back, and when I come back I started filming because I enjoyed it. It's the rise in the number of rays. So smooth hounds, tope, rays. When I was a kid, you didn't catch those from the beach. It was either because we didn't know how to, we couldn't, or they weren't there. I'm not sure. I think rays were pretty hard fished out for pot bait at one point because they were easy to catch en masse. But we never used to see anything like that when we were kids. June, July, we get them down our way, South Wales. Yeah, the hounds pup at the same, and the hounds pup at the same time. Yeah, Stu, you can take the mickey out of me. You and me are going to fall out. Big style. Thanks, Mark. Great to be able to be involved in fishing chat. Martin Browning. Okay. Yeah, so we are about the hour mark, hour and 5 minutes. We've run over a little bit. If anyone's got any burning questions, I'm going to do the old short and sweet sort of bit. You know, this can go on and we can talk stuff for hours on end. But if someone must have a burning question, something they're itching to get out. Have you ever caught a tuna? No, I haven't. So Barry Corbett, have you ever caught a tuna? No, it's a simple answer to that. And I've watched the Fish Locker, John, ex-Navy as well. I've watched John and his 2 tuna catches, absolutely amazing. 16-foot boat, 8-foot tuna, or whatever it was, 6-foot tuna, I don't know. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but they were hundreds of pounds, weren't they? They were more than £100 and probably closer to the 400 or 500. I don't know, that's just a guess. But to catch those in British waters and a 16-foot boat on his own, that's the one that blows me away. Caught them on his own and swam them and returned them. The tuna are hard fighting all the way to the beach, to the boat, to the point where they completely exhaust themselves and are pretty much spent. To then be able to revive them and swim them away, that was amazing. They were tuna the size of dolphins, basically, weren't they? Getting a little bit dry. Phil Carpenter, Bill Oddie to Phil Mitchell. Oh dear. What's the biggest fish you've caught in Britain? Oh, it's a bit in Britain. So it would have been a conger. And and this is where I struggle, because we never used to take back in the old days. You used to have to send it. People will probably laugh at this now, but back in the old days, you used to take your pictures and you take the film out and you send it away, or take it to Boots, and then 2 weeks later it'd come back and all your pictures would be of your thumb and all overexposed, and the odd picture that was any good, and then you'd find one of someone else had taken of someone else and you didn't even know who it was, or it was someone else's holiday picture in amongst yours, and you're like, well, what happened there? I've got no pictures. My brother sent me some pictures recently of his time out boat fishing, double figure bass, big cod and all that kind of stuff. I haven't got anything. We never used to, we used to eat everything, so we never used to weigh things, photograph things and put them back. We used to drag them in the boat, smash them over the head, and either take them home and eat them, or take them to the local Chinese shop, and used to give us money for diesel for the boat, or it used to replace the tackle. So I think for me, shore caught would have been single figure bass from Hamble. When I was a kid, used to cycle down there a lot. And off the boat, it must have been conger, and you would have been talking sub £20. So I've got none of these big record breaking, big PB, you know, all this stuff. When we've gone foreign, caught all sorts of magical things. Caught shark off the back of the ship whilst underway. In harbour, hooked into giant skate of some description that we couldn't identify because we didn't know what the locals were. But yeah, UK, it would be sub £20 conger and high single figure bass, I suppose, would be my most remarkable catches. Recently, I've started to fish, and you've seen it on the channel, I've started to fish for rays. I've had a lot of help from Colin and Clive, from Stu, and I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey and I'm sharing it with you guys. So nothing that amazing, to be honest. Nothing that's going to shock people and put me into the stratosphere of fishing gods. I'm a normal, down-to-earth, just trying to catch stuff kind of guy. How do you find the film? Right, so Scott's asking, how do I find the filming and editing side of YouTube? So I tried a GoPro right at the very start and junked it straight away. Didn't like it. No control, poor quality. It was waterproof. That was the only thing that was of any benefit. Waterproof, and that was it. So I then went out and almost to Q. It's only because it's here, because I loaded a video earlier. Mirrorless camera. Some people wonder what it is that I actually film with. So that's what I use. And the hardest thing with using a mirrorless camera, when you've got the screen to the side, is not to look at the screen. You've got to look at the lens. So in some of my early videos, and I still make the same mistake, you see my eyes darting to the side as I'm checking that I'm in camera shot. There is another type of camera where you can have the screen above. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have bought a camera with the screen above, because then you're in the natural eyesight of the lens. If you see my eyes flicker into the sides, it's because I'm checking the screen to see what's going on. But that will record video in 4K at whatever frame per second I set it at, and you've got full control. So if the video output is poor, it's because I'm not using the camera properly. When you've got a GoPro, if the video output is poor, you've got to deal with it in edit, whereas I can do it on the camera or in edit, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing, quality of camera. And I use a Mac, and the Macs are famous for, I didn't buy that, I've had that one 7 years, I think, something 6-7 years. I use iMovie and a Mac for editing, and Macs are particularly good at graphics and video editing. I'm not good at it, quite clumsy using it. The machine's a lot better than I am, but that's what I use. I hope that answers your question. Mirrorless camera, a Mac for editing, and what I'm being filmed on at the moment, this supplemented everything, so the three sort of go together. That is an iPhone 11 and it's waterproof. So if I'm filming at a beach and it's raining and I'm getting wet, I'm filming using the mobile phone. If it's in the dry, I'm using that, and everything's edited there. Let's have a look. Aaron the Bear, thank you for your service. That's appreciated. That's a very nice sentiment. When I joined military service, I didn't have many other options at the time, to be honest. So I'd like to be all noble and say, yes, I've served my country and I've done this and I've done that and blah, blah, blah. It did get like that towards the end. I put in all the effort to get to where I got. But when I first joined, I didn't have much choice. Barry Corbett, stories about fishing. They're all stories, aren't they? It's that big. It's that big. Do you think rigs are getting complicated? Simple's the key, really, isn't it? You can make something really complicated, cast it out, reel it in. It's a big mess. It's not fishing, is it? If it's out there and it's just all in a big mess, and you bring it back in a big mess, it's pointless, isn't it? But I do believe there's an element to tailoring. Let's get it down to simplicity. You need a weight, you need a hook, and you need bait on that hook. If you got that in the water, you're in with a chance, aren't you? As much as the next man. He could have the fanciest stuff, the most expensive rods and reels, but if your little bit of bait is in the right place at the right time, that's all you need. Everything after that is a complication, or to make it easier for you to get it to where it needs to be. I quite like making them as simple as possible. I know I put stuff up and this is complicated, and clip this and spring that and pull this, and all these hooks are hanging off it and all this of it, but you need a weight and a hook. That is it. Clive Painter, good evening, buddy. my skate guru. He's teaching me all about skate and skate fishing. £100 skate has your name on it. I really do hope so. I'd love to get one on camera. I'm just not sure that I want the 2-hour slog of just trying to pull it off the bottom. You can take 2 hours just to get it to move, and even then it takes another 40 minutes to get it in. That tests your knots. You've got to have 100%, 110% confidence in your knots. If you're into a £100 skate and you've got a whole tension on it for an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get it to move. What bivvy do I use? By bivvy, do you mean beach shelter? I use the IMAX one, and I've used it hard over this full season, and it is starting to show some wear, but it still functions perfectly. I know there are better quality, more expensive ones about, but I want to use this one to destruction and then do a review on it, and then buy one and give one away. But I use the IMAX one at the moment. Big up Captain Tom for the NHS. Right, so I've got a story about that. So a very good biking buddy of mine who I ride off-road and long distance and abroad and all that kind of stuff. He flies the memorial flight, and he was due to fly the Dakota. I want to say Dakota. I don't know my planes. The big one, the bomber, whatever it was. He was going to fly that as part of the memorial flight, but unfortunately it wasn't available. It was maintenance or whatever it is that was going on. So they flew the Spitfire and the Hurricane over his home, his care home, for his 100th birthday. Absolutely amazing. The guy walked the length of his garden, however many times it was, to try and raise £1,000. I think it's top 30 million. 30 million. And here's another story. I promise I don't try and get too political, but I need to say this. Richard Branson, Captain Tom. One of those two people is a knight, one of them isn't. One of them sued the NHS for 2 million, one raised 30 million. Can you see the difference there? How is Richard Branson a knight of the realm and suing the NHS for 2 million, and poor old Captain Tom has raised 30 million? That blows me away. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Big up Captain Tom. He is amazing. Sweet Corn Kid is reconfirming, sort of, rig has to be designed to do its job, mechanically sound, be reliable, and do with as few components as possible. We're always looking at that. We are genuinely always looking at that. And I always check Stu's rigs out as well, because he's that ex-pond dipper, you know, with carp fishing and little hair rigs. You see his sea fishing tackle rigs and that, and they are absolutely spot on. You know, really good attention to detail. Mine are just smashed together, get some stuff, get a load of elastic on it, and get it out. On any Sunday, you were looking far too handsome with that beard that you had to shave it. I must admit, I was throwing out the pheromones. The beard was generating some testosterone, and I was having to push, you know, keep my social distancing, keep the women at distance. They were starting to flock, but I've got it under control and I've shaved it off. Lancaster, the big bomber. Cheers, Alan. If I'm struggling to answer, Alan always chips in and sorts me out. Captain Tom has now been made a colonel. Is he getting a colonel's pension? That's the question. He's going to have his military pension, but if they've made him an honorary colonel, have they gone the full hog and upped his pension to a colonel's pension? I bet they haven't. I did the little Richard Branson thing. Yeah, I keep saying I'm not going to get too political. On Thursday nights, we go out and clap for carers and frontline workers and NHS predominantly and all the rest of it. Why don't we just give them more money? Why don't we show our appreciation and give them some more money? Amazon has given their employees £2 an hour extra. The MPs gave themselves £10,000 a year pay rise to work from home. It's cheaper to work from home. They don't have to travel. So they've given themselves 10k a year more to do less. Amazon are paying their employees £2 an hour more for turning up. Rather than clap, why don't we actually pay the guys some more money? Fish simple, more time in the water. Troy, good evening, buddy. Glad you can make it. I watch you when you do your bass fishing, and you've got your rigs down to the absolute simplistic basics, what is necessary and what does catch, and I do like that. Made a colonel, Captain Tom, big hero, Branson, big zero. Yeah, people like Richard Branson, seriously, I have questions. Mark Handley, what's your go-to rigs, please, Mark? Colin and Clive converted me over to an up and over rig, and since I started using the up and over rig, I fine-tuned it down to what I am now comfortable with, and I'm very happy with it. I also used to use solely the Gemini terminal tackle pulley rig, and I've been running a long-term comparison Trident pulley rig and Gemini pulley rig. So if I was to say what rig, if I go to a beach and I'm not even sure what I'm going to fish for, and that's rare because you always have a fair idea of what you're even going to start looking for, it would be a pulley rig or an up and over rig, and at the back there's always the reluctant 3-hook flapper all clipped down. my ting rig for the ting whisperer. Pulley or up and over, definitely, for the fishing where we are, and I realise that changes the moment you go somewhere else. Sweet Corn Kid, Tesco, we get an extra 10% for the lockdown. Amazing, you deserve it. And Wolfie 498, pulley or up and over, you need nothing else. Pretty much backs up what I've just said, really, isn't it? That's my personal preference. I think we're there or thereabouts, guys. I'm going to give you the one sales pitch before you go then. So 2/3 of the people that watch the channel aren't subscribers. I'd very much appreciate and be very grateful for any subscriptions. It makes the channel look better to YouTube, and the better I look to YouTube with likes and subscription, the more they promote your videos. So I don't know if you know how it works. They show it to someone, and if they click on it and watch it, they show it to some of their friends, and then some of their friends and some of their friends. And that's how a video can go viral. You know, if everyone they showed it to watches it and likes it, the next group of people, and it just escalates massively. And it helps the channel to grow. When the channel grows, I get paid, I buy stuff and give it away. That's the format. It's a really basic one, very simple, and that's how I operate. When you finish here, if you fancy entering a competition, there's a short review you can watch on the Shakespeare Seat Tackle box. And if you do watch it, type win into the comment section, like and subscribe, and at the end of the month I'll do a draw, and one lucky person will get a brand new fully loaded Shakespeare Seat Tackle box delivered direct to your door from a major online distributor. And if they give the option to choose a colour, you get the choice of the black or the blue. And I can't say any fairer than that. I'll pay for it and you'll get it. Troy, that's normal, about 2/3. Yeah, I get it. I understand it. I see how all of analytics work and all that kind of stuff. It just surprises me, really, because it doesn't cost anything. Subscription doesn't cost anything. Barry Corbett, subscribed and like, guys. Cheers, thank you. I appreciate the support. Alan, nice speaking to you again, Alan. Nice talking. And I appreciate the support you give to the channel, correcting me when I'm wrong. Put you out to Twitter. Hope you get some more subs. Scott, thank you. I appreciate the support. You're one of my regulars, and I really do appreciate that. Big Danny, thank you for the live chat. Cheers, buddy. I know it's obviously me talking because you can't talk back and respond, but you can message. But I'd like you to understand that this is your forum as well. You know, if you've got something you want to discuss, or for me to help portray, if there's things that you want me to clarify, you know, when we do these, it's as much yours as it is mine. Can't wait to get your PB. Yeah, Oban Fisher. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to coming up to Scotland. I really am looking forward to coming up to Scotland. Stu, Sweet Corn Kid, thank you, buddy. Thanks for your time. Phil Carpenter, thank you. Yes, and definitely from everyone. I'm not going to sing happy birthday, but Scott, happy birthday for tomorrow. Pete Mosley, Steve Newell, Stephen Morris, Scott Harris. Cheers, guys. So I'm going to cut this off now. And thank you very much for joining me. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. I look forward to sharing some of my more fishing exploits in the near future. And if we can fill the gaps in between with some of these, then as long as people are interested and want to discuss stuff, I'll do some more. Cheers, Robert. Somerset Beach Fishing Tony. There's a cracking one-liner, that one. Troy, cheers, buddy. Appreciate it. Andy Scott, thank you. And I'd love to come down to Cornwall. I'm looking forward to that one as well. I'll hold you to that because I like Cornwall. Got friends that live down there, and I can stay and be around there, and you know what I'm saying. We'll get down there at some point. Right, guys, I'm going to cut this short now then. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you're all well. Keep safe, look after yourselves, and spend time with your loved ones. It's the best thing you can do. It's time well spent. Bye for now.